Welcome to another Old Camera Guy Live. We're going to take a look at my film camera collection, shelf number 2, and I think we're just going to dive right in. First item on the shelf is actually not a camera at all. It's just this little decorative ceramic camera. Kind of looks like a Leica. Probably the closest I've ever going to get to a Leica is this right here. This is a whopping 99 cents at a thrift store in Athens, Ohio. About an hour and a half from where I live. So not a real camera, but we broke the ice with this one. Let's start with the real cameras. Got an Olympus Go. This one is a very basic point and shoot. It does have a built-in flash on it, and you can also choose the film speeds, ISO 400, or it has just one spot for 100 or 200. So if you got lower speed film over here, 400 speed film here, this was $4. Again, very basic insides. Next one on the shelf is a Minolta Freedom 35R FF. I mentioned in my last live that these Freedom cameras are kind of underrated gems. Again, nice form factor, not too big. Again, fits in the palm of your hand. And again, very basic too, nothing too fancy here. Again, this does have automatic wind and rewind, however, so it does have that. And again, just basic full frame. Also has on the front here, you can choose no flash or use the flash. And again, it does have a sliding lens cover too. So very basic, but again, pretty decent shooter. Got another one here. This is the Bell & Howell BF905 Big Finder. And they are not kidding about the big finder. It does have a huge finder, a little bit like the Canon SureShot Owl. This one I have not shot with, although I will tell you, it does look like there's a roll of film in here. So this one might have been filmed from the thrift store. I think it was actually. Haven't shot it yet. Again, very basic onboard flash. And I'm going to see how many shots are left on this. And if there's still some shots left, I'm going to go ahead and shoot this and see what I get. Pentax PC55. I have shot with this one. And again, very similar, huge viewfinder, just like the last one, just like the Canon SureShot Owl onboard flash again. It's a 30mm lens, so a little bit wider than your average lens here. Sliding lens cover again, pretty basic guts on the inside here. Auto wind as well. Good, basic camera, nothing fancy, but again, it'll get the job done. Next one we have here is the Nikon Teletouch. Now, this is kind of a funny one. This is one of those that has two lenses on it. So it's not a zoom, but it does have two lenses. One is a 38mm lens, one is a 65. I actually won this in a contest from Mac McDonald from Mac Shoots Film. You might have seen him here on YouTube. And again, it's a Nikon. I don't have a ton of Nikon gear, but this is a solid one. I think a few years ago, I actually did do a video on this one. So if you want to check it out, you can find it on my channel. But again, pretty good shooter. Here's one some people consider a classic. This is the Canonet QL17 from Canon. It's got a nice 1.7 lens, 40mm, rangefinder. And the patch is actually not too bad, not too bad. And again, this one's been around forever. It's e-focus here with this little lever, this lever assist, which is kind of nice. I think I've only shot one roll through this. Probably need to get out and shoot this one again. Next up is one I've definitely shot before, a few rolls through, and that is the Minolta hi-matic AF2. And I've actually had two of these at one point, one of which I gave away to one of the workers at my son's church in Athens that he goes to. And I got one from my friend Dwayne out in Iowa. I got one from my buddy Mike down in North Carolina. So I've got both of these for free. Gave away one, kept one. So I kind of paid it forward on this one. But again, really nice one. This is auto pretty much everything. Other than you can set the ISO with this little manual dial here. But it's autofocus, auto exposure. Again, onboard flash right here. And this one, again, really like this one. This is another example, one that's, I call it like a mid-size sedan. This is one that, again, it's not really pocketable unless you got really big pockets, but it's not huge either. It's certainly not like lugging around a Pentax 6.7. So this one, again, kind of a mid-size camera, good shooter, nothing crazy fancy, but again, I like it. One that is pretty pocketable, again, if you have thick pockets, is the Lomography Diana Mini. And this one, you might have heard, is in the news lately. They're actually discontinuing this model, and pretty soon you're not going to be able to get it anymore. They're actually having 25% off right now on this at lomography.com while supplies last. Now, this is a funny one because you can shoot square format 24 by 24 or half frame 24 by 17. I know half frame's been in the news a lot lately with that new Pentax 17, and kind of curious if anybody out there has ordered or pre-ordered or even got their Pentax 17 yet. A buddy of mine, Andrew, actually already ordered one. He actually got it a couple of days ago, so he already has it. Don't know if he shot with it yet. But this one, again, fun little camera. It does have normal or bulb settings. I've never tried the bulb setting on this one. And again, super, I mean, you can see the size of this one is super compact. A little bit thicker because the lens does stick out like this. And again, it's one of those that you've got a couple formats with it. You can open this up. You load it, kind of like a medium format, almost like the regular Diana, the 120 version, or a little bit like a Holga. But it looks basically what it says. It's a Diana, but it's mini size. And it does use 35mm film. It just doesn't expose the whole frame. Fun camera. And too bad you're not going to be able to get it too much longer. It is zone focus or scale focus, not unlike the new Pentax 17 that everybody's talking about right now. Got another camera here. The another, again, people would consider this one a classic too, I think. Pretty well regarded. Olympus Trip 35. And this is another one that is zone or scale focus. Now, I do have this covered with a little lens cap here because it's got these cells here around this, which powers your meter. And the more they're exposed to light, the quicker they wear out. This one actually still does work. And one of the reasons I know that is because it's got the little red flag on the inside. If you push this down, don't have enough light to safely or properly make an exposure, little red flag pops up. I got plenty of light in here, so it's going to power up. But again, there were millions of these made. I mean, this is one of the most popular cameras throughout history, and they were made for years and years and years and years. This one does have an f2.8 lens, and it's 40mm Olympus Trip 35, made in Japan. Next up, looks a little familiar, another Olympus Trip 35. The cell, the selenium cell is dead on this one, but I keep it around, and you might think, well, if it doesn't, the meter doesn't work, can you still use it? You can. What I do with this one is I use it for night shooting. If you take it off the, there's a little A reading right there for automatic. If you take it off A, I set it to 2.8, the widest aperture, and when you do that, when you take it off A, it goes into 1/40th of a second shutter speed. So again, 1/40th of a second, f2.8. If you're taking neons or something, you know, maybe not too dark at night, especially if there's again some neons and you're using a fairly fast speed film, I've pulled off handheld shots pretty decently with this one. So this one, don't use it anymore during the day, but it's my night tripper. And again, a lot of fun to use. Zone focus, scale focus, again, it's got the little icons here around the lens. So you got the one guy, two guys, got the mountains here for infinity, but again, classic. Another Olympus. This one I do have covered up on the lens because this is another one of those that has those cells around here that powers the meter. This is the Olympus Pen EES2. Very cool little half-frame camera. And again, it's got that vertical viewfinder, just like the Pentax 17 does. This one, of course, does not cost $500. But remember that the Pentax 17, you get a warranty with that, and if something goes wrong, you can get it fixed and that sort of thing, which might be a little tougher to do with this. So again, the price on the Pentax 17 is more than what some people, I think, expected. But with all the R&D involved, and again, with the warranty, everything I've heard about it seems like a pretty decent camera. I am not a huge half-frame shooter, although you can see I do have a few half-frames. This one, I haven't used in a while. It seems to me like the last time I used it, the focus was off a little bit. So if I really felt strongly about it, I might go ahead and get it CLA'd, maybe get that fixed, and see if I could do something about that. Same thing, scale, focus around the lens there. And again, fun shooter. Of course, with a half frame format, you can get 72 pictures off of a 36 exposure roll, or 48 off of 24. If you can still have an old 12 exposure roll, you get 24 with those. Frame counter is kind of cool too. An old analog frame counter. Another fun one. Got another one here, the Pentax IQ Zoom 90MC. Basic point and shoot. This is one I actually have not shot with yet. It's got the zoom here. I don't have a good battery in it. A couple of nice things about this one. It does have a diopter adjustment, so if you wear glasses or need some adjustment with your eyesight, you can do that there. Open up the back here, and you can also see it's got one of those 90s panoramic masks. So it just, again, it's a fake mask there. It's not real panoramic. It just crops your photo so it looks like a panoramic aspect ratio. And again, if you want to shoot a full frame, you can. So I like this because it lets you do both. Some of the cameras out there do not. I just reviewed the Minolta P's on my channel, and the Minolta P's is an example one that has the mask that's permanent and you cannot change it, so it just takes that fake panoramic. This one, again, I kind of like because you can go back and forth. If you want to shoot panoramic, you can. You can even change it mid-roll. If you develop yourself, not a big deal. If you send it to a lab, probably want to give them a heads up because that might kind of confound them, especially if you're trying to make prints. So do the right thing, give them a heads up. I have another part of my shelf here. I've got a few more cameras for you here to share with you. This is kind of a weird one, kind of a dusty one. This is a 3D stereo camera, and it's made by Argus. And you can see the two things here. So you can get stereo prints with this one. It does have a flash as well. And this one, of course, takes things in portrait orientation, just like the half frame cameras we've been talking about. I haven't used this in a while. Last time I used it, it did work pretty well. Again, kind of a novelty, not something I shoot every day, but is it still fun? Absolutely, still a fun camera. We got a few more here, not too many more on this shelf. I think we've got 4, 5, 6 more. This one is one, again, I have not shot with. This is the Concord Clear Shot, and you can see how it got its name. It's all clear in the front. Of course, it's not clear in the back, so you don't expose your film, but this part here, all this part here is clear. You can see through. Kind of cool, like those old see-through phones we used to have back in the day. And then this one is marked $40 on the back. And if you have watched this channel before, you know I did not pay $40 for this. This is another example, one of the cameras I got in the clearance room at World of Photography, and they were having one of their 90% off sales, so $40 became $4. And for $4, you know, I can live with that for $4. This one, again, haven't shot with it yet, but hope to sometime soon. And of course, if I do, you can bet I'll do a video about it too. Fun, kind of a novelty. I don't think it's going to be anything special. The lens doesn't look like anything all that. It does have a built-in flash. So again, this is the novelty factor on this one, the Clear Shot. Got a few more. This one here is the Nikon L35AD2. Now, this is in the same category or series as the Nikon L35AF, and it's got an f2.8 lens, so pretty wide, which I kind of like that, wide aperture, and then the 35mm focal length, which again, pretty standard on these point and shoots. It does have quartz date on the back. You may know I'm not a huge quartz date kind of a guy, but again, it is there. So if you want it, it's on there. And again, this one does have DX code reader here, has the auto wind here, and you just take your film leader, pull it over to the orange, and then close the back and let it do its thing. So this one does have also a lens cover here. Some of the cameras in this series did have filter threads. This one does not, so it's maybe a little bit more basic. Doesn't matter to me so much because I'm not a big filter guy to begin with. But again, if you're looking for maybe a slightly more affordable way to get into the L35AF series, you may want to look at the L35AD2. If you don't care about filters that much, again, this might be a way to go. There were differences on the cameras too. Some of them you could use higher ISOs than others. But again, this one is a good basic entry in the series. And again, it's one of those mid-size sedans, not too pocketable. Again, unless you've got those big pockets. But again, it's not like carrying around a brick either. So kind of a moderate size, not too bad. And I have shot this. Pretty good shooter. I did a video on this one too. So if you search my channel and you want to see what the pictures look like, check it out. Got a few more. Got another one here. This is the Pentax Zoom 280p. And this is one that you can see this little spot that almost looks like there's something missing there. That's because there is something missing there. That came with a little remote, which I never had the remote with mine. This was another one that, again, was $4, originally $40 in the clearance room at World of Photography in Grandview. And this one, again, 90% off, $4 camera. I did a video on this many years ago, one of my, probably the first year I was on my channel. It's got a zoom, it's got a pretty good zoom range of 28 millimeters, so kind of wide, up to 80. And this one is also a little bit renowned for, it has a bunch of different flash modes. Again, I may not be a big flash guy, so I haven't used all the modes, but pretty decent. Sweet Lou, good to see you here. Thanks for watching, my friend. So again, basic Pentax zoom. This one, kind of big. The only thing I didn't like about this one is, well, two things, I guess. This one here, you have to get your coin out to kind of open up the battery chamber, and when you do, it takes 2 of the CR123 batteries. Those are kind of expensive, and the 2 batteries, bigger size, it is kind of chunky, makes it a little bit heavier. So again, none of these are big deals. I'm being nitpicky, but pretty decent shooter. This one also does have the panoramic mask on the back, so you can shoot panoramic or regular aspect ratio, full frame if you want. I mentioned all the different flash things. And this one actually also on the top does have a dioptric adjustment, so you can adjust that too. Deadly Creature says, yeah, too bad they didn't have the remote. It would be kind of cool to have the remote, but again, I don't know how much I would have used it, but still, to make it complete, yeah, I would have kind of liked that. Sweet Lou asks, when do you think we'll get the Pentax 17 for $4? I'd say probably in the next couple weeks, you should be able to find one for $4. Probably not. It's going to be a while. But a buddy of mine already has his, my friend Andrew, who hosts the Sensor Noise podcast, available at all your favorite podcatchers. He already has his. I met up with him on Saturday for kind of an impromptu photo walk. There's, I think, maybe about 5, 6 of us. There wasn't too many. It was pretty small walk. Had a great time, shot some models, had a good time in Worthington, historic Worthington. And this was Saturday, and he said he was going to get his the next day, Sunday. He put a little thing on Instagram, and he already has his, so got it pretty quick. I didn't get mine yet. Lou, I know you didn't get yours either, so we'll see if Pentax is going to send us one of those anytime soon. Not holding my breath. Lou says, yeah, 500 is a little bit rich for my blood, but he respects it, and he's a big Pentax guy. K1000, that's when his rider dies. I think I've seen it fall off of his trunk a couple times in some of his videos, but yeah, I like Pentax too. I'm a Pentax guy. I've already reviewed a couple Pentax here tonight. Deadly Creature asks, have you heard if the new Pentax film camera is coming out soon? So we were just about the Pentax 17. The half frame is starting to become available. Looks like this week. Again, I know people already have their grubby little hands on it. Pentax is going to come out with at least a couple more is what we've heard. I would love it if and when they come out with a full frame. Price-wise, we'll see what it comes out to as to whether or not I get one. But again, like Lou, I respect what they're doing. Again, not a huge half-frame guy. One of the reasons for that is on the viewfinder, specifically on the Pentax 17, which is true on a lot of the half-frames, most of them actually, it's portrait orientation. And I take most of my pictures in landscape or horizontal orientation. So with a half-frame camera, if it's portrait orientation, you've got to kind of hold it sideways. Again, not a big deal. I know first world problems. It's really, truly not anything that bad. But I think if I'm going to spend $500 for a camera, I would be annoyed every time I have to do that. So haven't got one yet. Again, if they become discounted, like Lou was kind of hinting at, you know, maybe one of these days I might get one. One of the rare exceptions to the half frame that does not have a vertical or portrait orientation viewfinder is the Yashica Samurai series. Was half frame, but they were oriented where the frame was actually horizontal or landscape. And I believe that the viewfinder is like that too. So those are going right now on eBay for right around $100 or so. Lou doesn't do a whole lot of half frame either, but he's kind of a landscape orientation guy too, which I think a lot of us are. Well, at least old guys like me, right? The newer generation, younger generation, used to social media, Instagram posts, that sort of thing, are very much vertically oriented, kind of like I'm doing this video tonight. Universe's You says he got rid of his Pentax 90 WR with a remote and needed some cash for film. I think we can all relate to that. And then Lou mentions the GA 645 ZI is basically the antithesis of half frame. Yeah, that's going in the complete opposite direction. But again, very cool. We got a couple more cameras here. I think if I'm reading this or looking at this correctly, only 2 more. Deadly Creatures, I see a giant Kodak Color big box in the room. Is that full of expired film that you want to experiment with? It's full of hot air right now. It's got nothing. It's just a cooler that I got at an antique store in Delaware, Ohio, which is, again, about a half hour from where I live, about just a little bit north of here. But yeah, it's cool, and you can tell it's old because it actually says made in the USA, which not a lot of things are anymore. But yeah, I don't have anything in it. It's one of those where I have put film in it before when I've taken it on trips. It smells like an old cooler, and you know, you can put the kitty litter, Febreze, and whatever, you can try to get the stink out of it. But I still probably wouldn't put food in it. Drinks, maybe, but not food. But good for old film. I don't have any film in it right now, though. I've got another one here. This is the Olympus 35 EC. Now, this one is kind of looks like a rangefinder. It's not. This one is another zone or scale focus, just like the Pentax 17 we've been talking about tonight. But this one is not half frame. This is full frame. Sweet Louis Team USA. Yeah, it could be my Polaroid cooler. Good point, too. Yeah, keep that out of the sun. This one, again, zone focus. Here's one thing I kind of like about this one is, if you look here, this might not be, again, a big deal, but the scale is listed in feet. It's not meters. I've got a hard enough time estimating in feet, and when it's meters, I really got to do some mental gymnastics. So one thing I really like about this one, even though, again, Olympus Tokyo, they did put this in feet, probably for the U.S. market. And my son Joe says feet greater than meters. I'm with you. Again, USA. But this one, again, you adjust the ISO with this little dial right here. So no DX code, of course. This was born, I think, about when I was. I believe this is from the late 60s, 69. I think it's actually the same year as me. And this is one that, again, you've got the serial number on top, so you can get an idea of when yours was made or how old it was. This was one of the very first videos I had on my channel. So we're coming up on, believe it or not, it'll be 6 years of the Old Camera Guy videos coming up next month. July 22nd, 2018 was my very first video, which was the Minolta AFC, which I featured in my last live. Again, another fun one. And Sweet Lou shouting out to my son Joe, who's my de facto model in about half my videos. He's starstruck right now. So yeah, Joe, don't forget the little people. Yeah, and you can get his autograph sometime soon. And back at you there, Joe's giving a shout out to our friend Lou. So again, this one has settings for infinity, 10 feet, 7 feet, 5, 4, and as close as 3 feet, which is actually pretty good for one of these old zone or scale focus cameras. It's got a lock on it here so you don't accidentally take a picture too. This one, again, very compact. This is one in my video. It's another one where you have to get that key and open it up. It's got two battery, basically 2 wells in the battery chamber down here. What I do with mine is put the batteries on one side and then fill it up with tin foil. And I found that if you do that, you can use modern day batteries. You don't always have to get the old mercury batteries, which you can't really legally get them anymore, I don't think. I don't think you can find them pretty much anywhere, at least not ones that work, because they've been pretty much banned because they're toxic. Mercury, not the healthiest thing you can handle. So that little tin foil in here actually works like a charm. It works very well. I think we have one more here for tonight. And oh, this is a good one. This one actually is a true rangefinder, and that is the Olympus 35 DC, another classic one. Great lens on this one. This is one of those Zuiko lenses. I don't know if that's how you say it. That's how I say it, but I probably don't know any better. This one, again, is a 40 millimeter lens, and this is an f1.7, so pretty fast. Rangefinder, again, I've talked about this before on my channel, that the older I get, the harder it is for me to deal with rangefinders. So it's one of those things where I haven't shot this one in a while. Last time I shot it though, it worked beautifully. And again, classic little camera. I had one that was similar to this. Years ago, I had the Olympus 35 SP. Another great rangefinder. I think that one has a f1.7 lens as well, as if I recall correctly. And Jazzy Laura says, yeah, I would love one. Absolutely. This one, again, more compact. I actually sold the SP. I got it at the camera show in Brecksville, Ohio, a couple hours north of here, for, I believe, 35 bucks, which again, it's been several years. You can't get it for 35 bucks anymore. I sold it a little bit later for 80. And it's one of those rare ones that I sold. And I kind of regret that I sold it. It's a little bit bigger form factor. I think that's probably why I got rid of it, because I had this one already, and I kind of gravitate towards smaller cameras. But I still kind of wish I had that 35 SP. But live and learn. It's not like I'm hurting for cameras. I actually forgot I have one more over here on the other side of my desk here that I grabbed off the shelf. And I guess this will probably be the last one for tonight's show. And that is another classic one, the Yashica Electro 35 GX. And this one, beautiful black paint job, old. Again, you can see some brass in there, and it's kind of chipping off a little bit. So this one definitely has some character. It's not brand new. This one does have a rangefinder. The rangefinder patch on this one is actually pretty bright. This is one of the few I can probably still use without too much difficulty with my old, or at least middle-aged eyes. So this one, again, it's got a nice smooth focus ring here. And this one's kind of cool because it's got, on the barrel here, you can see these little arrows. When you look through here, the meter will tell you which direction you need to kind of move the aperture. If you need more light, it'll tell you to move it towards a bigger aperture, of course. If it's overexposing your scene, it's going to tell you to move it to a smaller aperture. So it's kind of cool that it has that little guide there. It does have a hot shoe on the top. Again, I'm not a huge flash guy, although I do have a video coming out Sunday that details the Reflex Lab, not their mini flash. The one I got is the simple flash, which Reflex was kind enough to give me. And spoiler alert, I think Lou has one of those flashes. I think he's going to do a review on pretty soon too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say about that. The other thing I really like about this one, in addition to having this nice f1.7 40mm lens, is this one was modified. We were talking before about mercury batteries and how it's getting harder to find batteries and all that kind of thing. This one has been adapted to take just your regular LR44s or SR44s. And then Lou is going to come out with his mini flash review on Friday or Saturday, so he might beat me to the punch. But again, I think we have different ones. He's got the mini one, which truly is super, super tiny. The one I have is the simple flash, which is actually still very compact, but not quite as small as the mini. One thing I do like about it, again, a little foreshadowing, a little spoiler alert, it comes with the little free diffuser, and it's got these colored gels. It comes with 3 primary color gels, and it was a lot of fun to use those gels. That's probably what I like the most about it. And yeah, Lou says the mini is like the size of an SD card. Yeah, that thing is tiny. And I think it was kind of came out, well, one of the reasons it came out, or one of the popular uses of it is with the Ricoh GR series. It's perfect for that. And, oh, he actually bought the simple flash, which, again, at the time I recorded my video, was $44.99 for the simple flash from Reflex Lab, so pretty affordable. It is $49.99 if you get it included with the, it has a PC sync cord. So if your camera does not have a hot shoe like this, you can still use a PC sync cable too. He hasn't tested the simple flash yet. But this is cool because you can use, again, just your regular LR44s or SR44s or AG13s or 357. These batteries go by about 100 different names. But it's got this little adapter thing in here, and you just pop 2 of these in here. And it's been adjusted so the voltage is correct on it. So this one, again, is one of the few rangefinders that has a bright enough patch I can still probably actually use. So that puts us, I think, at the end of this shelf. If you like this kind of thing, let me know, and then I'll probably end up doing some more because, let's face it, folks, I've got a lot more shelves and a lot more cameras to detail. Deadly Creature checking in again, and it says that they really enjoy seeing the cameras, and they are all unique and very cool. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, these are some of those things that, some of them are classic, some of them are, again, $4 point and shoots, but I think they're kind of cool too. And Jazzy Laura says that that's so small. I always wanted that camera you're showing, but couldn't get it in time. Yep. And Nop Top, my friend Dave, says, woohoo, more shelf. So stay tuned to the channel for a shelf coming soon. And Lou says, of course, hi to Nop Top. We're mutual friends. Jazzy Laura says, yep, shows all. Double Dave Hour with Sweet Lou, the Dave and Dave show. Maybe that'll be a future collab we can do, Dave. We can go ahead and do something. We did do a nice little photo walk. I did feature one of Dave's cameras. He actually gifted me, and it was that weird camera that had the radio inside, which, again, one of the strangest ones I've ever used. And, yeah, mega podcast. Lou, maybe we'll involve you, too, and do a mega collab. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned to the channel. We're going to have more cameras coming sometime soonish. Take care.